Whakawhai runga te karanga o tēnei hui whakahirahira I te ahi hai nei. Ko anu te ngākau, ko tai mai au wangani o koutou, nā tauira, me ngā mātua, ngā kuia kraua, me ngā kai whakahaere te poare, me ngā kaiako o tēnei kura ātāhua. Nō reira tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Ko pūtaua ki te maunga, ko rangitai ki te awa, ko Ngāti awa te iwi, ko te pahipoto me te kaupāke ngā hapu o Ngāti awa, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Not to forget Ngāti Piki au, te whakatohea and te whānau apane, who I also whakapata to. Ladies and gentlemen, and particularly the graduating students, it's an honour and a privilege to be asked to say a few words to you on this very auspicious occasion. I'm delighted to be here. I've always wanted to be here. I'm mai wai tapu because this school has a reputation and stands in the pantheon of schooling in New Zealand in the first order. And that's a consequence of the deep history that you have of 150 years that you celebrated recently. I'm sorry I couldn't join you there, but I can tell you I'm a Facebook reader. The joy and the smiles of the attendees was just something to behold. And as I sat in Greece and Crete, I followed the reunion with absolute delight because I knew a lot of the people involved, and you could tell that the joy in their hearts came from when they were students here, and some of them in their 70s and 80s came back with that same joy. And I think that's something that students of this school, and particularly you, the graduating students, will always have and keep in your lives forever. I think underpinning the school is the deep symbolism and the deep practice of the Catholic religion. I was brought up in a household, curiously, which had half of my aunties and uncles Catholics, so they counted beads, and the other half were Anglicans, and I don't know what they did. I enjoyed my Catholic aunties and uncles because they could sing, and I particularly liked More Maria. I enjoyed my Anglican uncles and aunties because on Friday they ate meat, whereas my Catholic aunties and uncles could only eat fish. So I had the joy of both worlds, but nevertheless, it's that deep and abiding spiritual sense that drives an institution, keeps it going, and maintains it into the future. I want to congratulate the Board of Trustees, Ian, for the work that's done by the Board of Trustees. I too asked my daughters how I should speak to you, since I'm many generations removed from you, and they said, Dad, whatever you do, don't tell a joke. You're not very good at it, and you get the wrong endings often, so I won't be telling a joke. But I will be telling you about some of the experiences that I had as a young person when I asked Miss Kingy, and regardless of whether she's the Queen of England or Dame Georgina, she's always Miss Kingy, and she's the name that's known across the nation. So yesterday I was in a teleconference in the offices of the Maniapoto Trust Board, having a conference with the board, and on the phone was one of the conference attendees, and at the end I said, I'm off to Napier now to attend St Joe's Prizegiving, and this voice at the end of the line said, can you please give Miss my regards? And I said, who's that? Shall I tell her your name? She said, no, don't tell her my name, because I think I was a bit naughty when I was there. So I won't tell her your name, Haley Kutara. It's the kind of impact that the school has. And it is a meritorious recognition of the past student. And I was really astounded to hear in the staff room of the 2,000 Māori students attending Otago University, and about 14 of them come from this school. And I think that creates a cohort of comfort for you when you embark on a very, very challenging period of studying for your degree and trying like all heck not to become too social, to run up and down that hill where they put those jelly beans down, or burn your mattress, or do whatever Otago University students do. Let me start by telling you some of the things that I've experienced. Because this, for you, the graduating class, is but the beginning of another journey. You journeyed through kohanga or preschool, and you journeyed through primary school, and at each period of your journey, you rise to the top and you become the big fish in the little pond. And then you start the journey again, and then you have to grow. And along that way, you will meet challenges, you will have disappointments, there will be sadness, there will be exquisite happiness, but it is not an even path forward in your life. And as long as you remember the things that you were taught and the kind of principles that are imbued in you by a school such as this, you'll very seldom go astray. So at the age of 10, I was arrested and accused of leading a shoplifting gang in Rotorua, which is totally untrue. What really happened was that my brother, and I was 10, my brother was 6, and we went with these hoodlums from Rotorua, which is the longest track end of Kiao, on a bus to Rotorua. I didn't know that they would go steal stuff. I took my brother along. My mother said, "Look after your brother Bruno. Don't lead him astray." I said, "Yeah, Mum. See you later." So we got to Rotorua, and this gang of hoodlums went to a place called Mackenzie's. Now, Mackenzie's was the modern-day equivalent of the warehouse. It had all these bright things in it, marbles and pencils and all of those goodies that you want to get your hands on, which is what they did, except they didn't pay. So I was following along, watching them, and we went around the shop, and I thought, this is great fun. I've got some money in my pocket, and I've still got my money, and I'm loading my other pockets with marbles and all sorts of things. So we went around the shop and got to the door to go out. I was so excited that I said in a loud voice, "Let's do it again." Unfortunately for us, an off-duty detective sergeant was standing at the door, and he said, "Halt." And there were about a dozen of us, and we all halted. And we were kind of arrested, and we were taken to the manager's office, and stupid old me didn't follow what my mates were doing. As we were going to the manager's office, they were emptying their pockets, of course. And when we got to the manager's office, all their pockets were clean except mine. So when we went before the judge said that I was the ringleader, because the policeman said I was the ringleader, where in fact I was the innocent participant. So what's the learning from that? I could have gone on. If I'd have got away with that, I probably could have gone on and ended up being a very unsuccessful gangster or criminal. But actually, I decided at the age of 10, for some reason, I got kind of a moral turpitude about the issue of integrity, truthfulness, telling lies, and stealing. And I've never, ever forgotten that lesson, and I've maintained that through my entire life. There are people who don't necessarily like me, but they will always be consistent that in terms of integrity, in terms of honesty and directness, I will always be consistent. So that's the first lesson. The next lesson I learned when I was about 17 or 18, and I was in the Australian Capital Territory at the Military Academy, training for 4 years to be a professional soldier. And in the first term, I failed my English exam. Normally when you fail exams in a college of that kind, you're sent home. And so I went to the Dean of English, and I thought I was getting my marching orders, I'd be on the plane back to New Zealand in disgrace because I'd failed the examination. And he said to me, he said, "I think you've got some potential, I think you've got some value, so we'll give you another chance. We'll test you over the next term, and if you can pass the exam at the next term, you can stay." And from that kind of shock to my system, I began to read. And I read, and I read, and my reading habit is eclectic, which means I read everything. Non-fiction, fiction, the TAB, book, whatever it is there, I read it. And indeed, a few years ago, I bequeathed my library of more than 3,000 volumes to the Wānanga Whauanuirangi. And it was simply a simple lesson of someone giving me a chance that I decided to read. And all of the things I've done, academic studies, all the achievements I've done, I think, are not necessarily from the formal lessons of schools, but through reading. And I'm regret to say that I do not notice much of it going around, because when you go into a place, you see everybody peering at this little rectangular thing called a phone, and that's the way that we read and get our message. That's fine, but that's a real worry to me. The third lesson is that I went to Whakatane High School essentially to eat other people's lunches. Because I was big enough, and from Te Teko we were the kind of toughies. And I look back with some regret, When I went to high school, the big toughies were from Paro and Poroporo, and they used to give us, whack us over the years. So when we got big, we did the same to their younger brothers and sisters, and we whacked them over the years. So we were the toughies. And so essentially, schoolwork was not something that one focused on. One focused on music, football, rugby, girls, although for some particular reason they didn't kind of respond as we would want them to respond. Nevertheless, those were our uppermost thoughts. And then at the end of my last year in school was the school certificate in 5th form. I failed it once, and then I passed it the second time. And I learned another valuable lesson there, and that lesson was told to me by a teacher who, once I failed it the first time, he said to me, do the math. I said, what do you mean by doing the math? He said, life is about passing to achieve. Some people will be spectacular and show off at 95%. Some other people will be less spectacular but still crazily successful at 70%. He said, all you need is 51% and you're over the mark. And I got 51.5%. I'm not saying actually that you should go for the lowest common denominator, right? But life is about doing it. It's about deciding what it is you want to do and whether you can get there. On the boards of whakatanga